Okay, next update, Gray Lightning. We're going to put the intake on. So this here is part of it. It's called a split port induction. So it has 2 ports that open up depending on, if you floor it or not. So we can get in here. Let's see. This one, I can't even see. Okay, this one here is a hole standard. The air goes through, and then when you floor it, the second butterfly opens up and lets more airflow go in. So what happens with these split port motors, like I had said before, is that the valve seats break, and it sends a bunch of metal particles everywhere into the engine, damaging the pistons, like this one. Okay, and what happens is it gets sucked back up through the intake and it goes into the other cylinders. So here's the intake that bolts onto that piece I just showed you, and I had to thoroughly clean it out, all inside. This is the idle air control valve. You have to clean that. EGR valve, clean that. And then also, a lot of them, if you don't take the EGR valve off, as you can see, the hole goes through there, and it'll build up with carbon, and it'll be blocked. You get a check engine light a lot of times, insufficient flow EGR, and you can see, I don't got much lighting here, but there's a hole here that EGR bolts to. And then it lets the exhaust gas recirculate into the engine for better emissions. So I had to clean this whole intake out, and then let me show you. If I just would have installed it, there's a lot of guys that don't know what they're doing, and what they do is they get a new motor or junkyard motor or whatever happens, and they install that intake not cleaned. Well, cleaned it out, and look at all this. This is metal shavings. You can see here. There we go. That's metal. So I would have fired up the engine. It's a fresh motor I spent all this time building, and these metal particles would have went right back in there into the combustion chamber, and it would have damaged this engine again. So tech tip. Got to know what you're doing. So hopefully this will help somebody if they're ever doing anything like this. Took the throttle body off, cleaned that as well, made sure there's no crap metal particles stuck in there, and we're good now. It bolts right on. Just making sure that there was no debris trapped in here as well, metal particles, and that idle air control valve that I showed you earlier just a few seconds ago bolts here. So I'm going to bolt this all back together and be running.